I'm State Representative Dave Zimmerman, representing northern Lancaster County and northeast part of Lancaster County and part of Berks County. And happy to be here with Secretary of Agriculture, Russ Redding, and looking forward to a conversation on what's happening here in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, it's good to see you.
So good to be here.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Yeah. So Saturday I thought was a really good listening session with GT and from U.S. Congress and heading up, the Ag Committee in Washington, and a lot of good questions. So
well, it's a reminder. Yeah, it's a reminder. Our theme this year is connecting our communities, and as Congressman Thompson's talking about, the federal farm bill and some of those issues. That's another connection for us, right?
Yep,
and
for sure.
What happens there has huge implications for us, as we know, right? Both on ag policy, workforce, and other things. So I'm always appreciative of him. Excuse me, taking time during Farm Show to engage us and share his knowledge and listen.
So with that, on the Farm Bill, for example, what are some of the most significant things that would impact Pennsylvania agriculture that might land in that Farm Bill?
Yeah, there are two, and knowing your district well has a lot of poultry, right?
Exactly
and right.
Yeah.
You've got a lot of agriculture, solid ag, but particularly poultry. So all of these worries that we have around high path AI, that title in the Farm Bill around sort of animal agriculture and what happens with APHIS, which is the USDA agency that works with us.
Right.
There's a research piece of that. There's a funding component to Penn State and the university. All of that is inside the Farm Bill, number one. And two, the work that we do around Chesapeake Bay. The conservation title, we're direct beneficiaries of that as a state with the producers, with the cost share components.
Right.
It's the funding we provide through the program, and of course, Farmland Preservation is another big one.
Right. Yeah, and those are
They're
very
all big.
important to Pennsylvania for sure. So.
Yeah.
And that's a huge bill that spends a lot of money. So it's very important to get that passed and get it put in place. So very interesting. So part of that too is this whole area of making sure we have enough of food supply and the safety of food and the security, which continues to be an ongoing conversation. And I know there's some pieces in that Farm Bill related to all of that as well. But what's happening in Pennsylvania related to all of those? You feeling comfortable that we're on the right track with all of that?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I think there's two things that stood out, and we've shared this with Congressman Thompson, is that, the Farm Bill, it's an interesting piece of legislation because of what it contains, but it's also the frequency. So it's every 5 years. So either you get something done now, right, or you wait 5 years. So we have been trying for many years to make a couple of changes in some of the conservation work, in the title, and particularly around preservation. One of those things is we've got a lot of farms who want to preserve their farm. They're not necessarily sure they want to do it through the U.S. Department of Agriculture sort of structure because of the restrictions, right? Number two, as I mentioned Saturday, on the food nutrition side, is that we appreciate very much what the USDA has done to provide resources, but the administrative monies don't always follow. So we come to you, right? We come to the House and Senate here in Pennsylvania and have to engage. So we've been challenged on that as one example. So there's a lot going on there. I feel pretty comfortable with it. We simply can't do what we do without the USDA, without that Farm Bill. So it's a real partnership.
Yeah. Well, when it comes to food safety, because I'm Lancaster County, I'm going to have to bring up the whole Amos Miller situation and that you're familiar with, and I'm understanding that maybe in his part he's not willing to be inspected and so on, and using this idea that he's has this buying group, and these individuals, want to buy, food that's produced down on the farm like that, raw milk and, you know, meat that's maybe not inspected and so forth. So I just asked that question because, you know, I'm not sure where that fine line is of government being involved and the freedoms of individuals like that. So just like to hear your perspective on, do we have the right balance or don't we?
How much time do you have? I'd say a couple of things, Representative. One is we've really worked hard to try to bring Mr. Miller along.
Okay.
Because of the issues that have been a result of some of his practices. As I shared on Saturday, when you're contacted by other states' health departments,
Right.
that is not a good look for Pennsylvania. And unfortunately, in this case, is that there's illness involved. So we want to work with him. I want to see him succeed. We have asked repeatedly for him to have, a license to do some of the things he's doing, which then would allow for some of the inspection.
Right.
We do thousands of those. So you've got neighbors, he's got neighbors who are in the same business, who are doing everything they need to do, and they're putting product in the commercial space, and they're doing that all under the structures of both Food and Drug Administration, USDA, PDA, local health departments. So our frustration is there's just been a complete sort of avoidance, rejection, quite frankly, of his interest in doing that. And I think anybody who puts food into the commercial space should at least meet the minimum requirements, right? That's our tension point around this. I don't know how to get his attention to do that. I think he's doing a lot of good things. Unfortunately, the risk that he's taken and the risk that he's exposing to others is that we don't have an option. And if he says, well, I shouldn't have to do this, what do we say to every other farm and every other food processor in Pennsylvania? Does it matter? We think it does. So that's our tension point with it. It's not personal. This is about a business decision he's made. And as came up Saturday, making sure that we also respect that we're a raw milk state, right?
Yeah.
You can do that here.
So real quick, as a kind of follow-up to that, is are we pretty confident in food coming from other nations, for example, like imports? Are they safe and secure and as well, or?
Yeah, I mean, I feel pretty confident. I mean, we can always increase the number of inspections we do, and that's just been requested.
Sure.
But I don't feel that the food product is coming in that's adulterated in some way, putting the public at risk.
Okay.
So.
Well, very good. Many other things I'd like to talk about. But
Yeah, likewise.
We'll
There's
have
a lot to
chance
do.
at some point.
But thanks for all you do. Yeah, I appreciate
thanks,
it. Thank you.